Good afternoon, brothers. Yeah, okay. Just checking my microphone was definitely switched on. How are you guys doing? Let me enable the chat. There we go. Cool. Good afternoon. Sorry, I've just been setting up a couple of new stream commands. So, Camille's watching the stream on a nice river. Cool. Tabletop Chuck, I took assault intercessors out and put in infiltrators. Nice. Hey Steel Rain, how you doing? Hey Furion, good afternoon, folks. Thanks for tuning in. I have one final bit of stream setup to do, which is just going to take me 1 second. I'll get into it. So we're looking at 5 army lists today, and I have the 5 that were 2 from members as usual. I'm good, thanks, Camille. James Fisher and Lagmeister are members list today, and let me just check that the present camera. Yes, okay, cool. So James Fisher and Lagmeister, and then Ben Fox, Jackson, Zod, and John Cooper are our non-member lists. Hey Jeff, good afternoon. So, should be a fun stream. I guess the one thing to say is these lists were most probably submitted before Chapter Approved came out. So there may be a couple of points changes that we just need to make sure we're updated on. And then at the end of today's stream, we're going to talk a little bit about Sisters of Battle, because apparently I'm playing a bunch of new Sisters of Battle tomorrow, so that'll be interesting. So that'll be live tomorrow night, 7:30. I actually have the Sisters list. Andrew already sent it over to me, so I could share that as well, so you get to see what we're playing against. And it's got a bunch of those Paragon War suits and that new Supreme Commander girl, Morganval or Mortonval, something like that. I'm not 100% on her name. We'll figure out her name when we put it on the gravestone when we kill her tomorrow. And yeah, you'll be able to bet on tomorrow's game. That is the plan. So everybody is gaining loyalty points for watching the stream. At some point during this stream, I will add loyalty points to everybody, like as a bonus. So you get one for every 5 minutes you watch, I believe. You get some when you become a member and all sorts of other stuff. But for the first few streams, we'll throw some loyalty points out as well to people. So you can get started on that. And then if you are new here, well, two things. One is if you are new and you want to get a list reviewed in the future, what you need to do is head over to Blood Angels Commander YouTube channel, click on community, and put your latest list as a comment on the latest community post. So we've got that going on. That's funny. We have 666 votes on this community post at the moment about Dante. That's so random that it's 666 while we look at this poll, but okay. And then the second thing to say is last night's live stream, this video right here, if you put a comment in that live stream, #bike, we're going to do a giveaway probably in like an hour's time, and everyone that's put a #bike into this video will have a chance of winning. We'll have a chance to win this last. Oh, I just dropped his base. I don't suppose that matters. But we have this last. We already gave away 2 of these bikes on the channel, so people can make chapter masters on bikes. You guys know how much I love making chapter masters on bikes. I was going to say, I guess there's an Ultramarine transfer in here. Oh, do you know what? There's some Blood Angels transfers in here as well, actually. Just a few. So I guess, yeah, whoever wins this last one, you win the instructions and you win the transfers. So we'll just give away, because basically we're giving away the whole box, right? So I'll just postage this up and get out to you this week. So if you want to find last night's hobby hangout, it's the video that's right there. If you go on the channel and just put #bike into the comments of that video, we're doing that in like an hour's time. Will this be easier to track as a YouTube member or Patreon? Loyalty points are just attached to your YouTube, Zacharias. There's no advantage to being a patron or a YouTube member to use your loyalty points. I can show you. Hold on. So I use Streamlabs, which is a program for people that do streaming. And in my Streamlabs dashboard, I go to Cloudbot. I'm kind of new at streaming, and click on loyalty. And so everybody here that watched last night's stream, and I guess that watched today's stream, will be getting some loyalty points. And maybe if we search Wade, or maybe not. Zacharias. Okay, so maybe you weren't here last night. I don't know. But these are people that have been watching the streams: DKing, the Dolph, Cat TV, Levi. Oh yeah, Zacharias, you just got your first loyalty point, I guess. And I can add points to all viewers, and we'll do that at some point during today's stream, so everybody will get some points. So starting tomorrow, it's in here as well. We're going to set up a bet. So tomorrow, there'll be a bet, so you'll be able to bet on tomorrow's game. It's going to be Sisters of Battle against the Blood Angels. I guess you'll bet Sisters or you'll bet Blood Angels, and you'll be able to bet between 10 and 10,000 loyalty points. And I guess it's just sort of like a little cool bragging thing. So people can bet their loyalty points and earn them, and then you can see them in the chat. And maybe over time we'll do something else with loyalty points. I don't know. I'm new to Streamlabs, I guess. But yeah, just a way to add a little bit more interaction. I mean, it's not like you're betting real money, right? It's just a way to add a little bit more fun on Monday night as well. Bear in mind, the Blood Angels have won like 23 out of the last 24 games, so I would say you probably want to bet on Blood Angels normally, but I mean, I am fighting a Sisters of Battle list that I haven't really seen before tomorrow, and we'll go over that at the end of today's stream. So thanks for coming in, guys. Thanks for hanging out, and if you do enjoy today's video, I do really appreciate everyone that hits that like button. It's very much appreciated. It does help out. It helps out on every video. YouTube's a fickle thing. Okay, so we're going to look at list number 1 today, and that is by James Fisher. And if there's any questions in the chat about chapter approved or rules or anything, please just fire the question in and we'll try and get to it. Okay, so James says, "Hey John, I was flirting with this list prior to the points changes. Who says dreads don't fit with the flavour of the Blood Angels? We have the most custom ones. I just swapped out 5 Death Company Marines for the Ancient and dropped some pistols to make up the points. I think the Wrath of Baal is a bit more plain out at minus 15 points. Alright, I didn't realise this list was submitted with the new points cost. Cool. Okay, so James is starting with the battalion. I'm looking for it. It's a strike. What is this? Is it a battalion? No, I don't think so. Oh, it's up here. Sorry. Patrol detachment, 0 CP. Guess whose Las Vegas has odds on? I'm not entirely sure what you mean, Martin. But you can. Hopefully, you can just bet on the game, and it'll be a little bit of fun. So it's a Death Company captain, and he has the Hammer of Baal. He's a jump pack, Storm Shield. He's a hero of the chapter, Imperium Sword, and he has the Thunder Hammer. Interesting. So I guess Imperium Sword gives him that strength 9 on the charge. So he's wounding arguably anything on 2s. He can re-roll his charges. He can get a bunch of bonus attacks from Death Visions. I have run the Death Company captain a little bit myself. Thought he was okay. I feel like if you're not running a chapter master, though, with your other HQs, the one disadvantage of the Death Company is, like, he's 20 points, and what do you get for those 20 points? You get 1 additional attack, and you get the 6+ Feel No Pain. I don't think those 20 points are as well spent as 40 points on chapter master, which we've done some maths on recently, and I've been talking about how good chapter master is. Let me double check. What all do you get for being a Death Company captain? It's just upgraded to the Lost. Yeah, so you kind of lose the ability to give rerolls to everything around you, and you just give them to Death Company core units. Well, I mean, you only give them to core units before anyway. And you get access to the Death Visions, obviously. And then you get the Black Rage, which gives you that 6+ Feel No Pain. And an additional attack in close combat, but you can't fall back, so that's the disadvantage of the Black Rage keyword. It's a pretty big disadvantage, if your captain gets trapped somewhere on the board, he has to just stand and fight out. Hey, good afternoon, Lagmeister, how you doing? We've got your list up for next, and I'll just, at the end of the stream, I always put the names of all the army lists into the comment section, so if anyone has any questions or wants to review any of the lists during the stream, you can do that. So, 160 points for a Death Company captain on a bike. It's fine, but I pay 165 for a chapter master. Oh no, this one's not on a bike, this is just a Death Company captain. 160 points for a Death Company captain with a jump pack against a 165 point chapter master. I prefer the chapter master quite considerably here. But, I mean, he is going to cost me an additional CP, I guess, because he's got that, what is it? Angel's Exemplar, where you can take the second Warlord trait. Now, we go into Librarian Dreadnought next, and he has Quickening Shield, Gift of Foresight, Wings of Sanguinius, and then Iron Resolve, and he is the Angel's Exemplar for 1 CP. Okay, and he is the Chief Librarian. I like the Iron Resolve on the Librarian Dreadnought a lot. It puts them on 9 wounds, which is really nice. And Gift of Foresight, I guess, like he usually fails some attacks, right? Because his WS is 3, so Gift of Foresight sort of makes sense. The one issue with Gift of Foresight, I suppose, is that he doesn't typically get an invulnerable save. I guess maybe you're shielding him yourself, and then using Gift of Foresight to try and reroll one of his 5+ invulnerable saves. So yeah, Librarian Dreadnought like that is maybe okay. Kind of costly though at 180 points, but yeah, maybe it's okay. You get points, Matt, I believe every 5 minutes you watch the stream. I'm not sure how quickly in real time it updates, but it is working because I think someone else just logged in very briefly. So try it again in 10 minutes. Steel Rain makes a very good point. You don't feel you need 2 Smash characters in one list. Yeah, and do you know what? The one thing to say about the Librarian Dreadnought, so I used him twice this week. I used him in 2 charges last week, and he gets like 10 attacks, but in both the charges, I want to say I only made like 5 hits. Weapon Skill 3 can be rough, right? You can roll pretty badly on Weapon Skill 3. You can roll a decent amount of number 1s and 2s. So I actually think Chapter Master rerolls on the Librarian Dreadnought is super strong, but, these aren't bad characters. Neither of them are bad characters. Maybe they're not optimal, but they're not bad either. We then have an Incursor squad, and it's your standard Incursor as you see them. We then have the Sangori Ancient, who is a bit cheaper now, giving the Wrath of Baal, so you get that +2 movement range. And then we have 2, 4, 6, 7 Sangori Guard, 4 swords, 3 axes, so it's a good mix between the swords and axes, and I like that personally. We then have the Vanguard Detachment, Primaris Librarian, Might of Heroes, and Psychic Fortress. I think this is a good pick. Like, if you aren't necessarily going, if you're going to do like the castle style deployment that I do, then I feel like you don't necessarily need to have the jump pack Librarian, and this is a cheap Librarian, so that's fine. And then the Primaris Tech Marine, who is Master of the Forge. He has a Stormbolter. I think this is the sort of the standard loadout, and he's been given Warden of the Ancients. Warden of the Ancient gives him bonus damage when... Oh, I have to check that. Warden of the Ancient isn't it like +1 strength, +1 attacks to dreadnoughts near him? I think Master of the Forge is definitely worthwhile. I'm not sure if I feel like Warden of the Ancients is worthwhile. Yeah, he adds 1 strength and 1 attack to dreadnoughts within 6 inches. Like, most of our dreadnoughts have a decent amount of attacks, and most of them have like a 2x strength weapon, and with a +1 from Red Thirst, it's questionable getting just 1 more attack on the dreadnoughts. I guess let's see what dreadnoughts he has, right? So here's a Death Company dreadnought, double heavy flamer, pair of blood talons. I mean, we've talked about this and said that is one of the most optimal loadouts. I don't think the Death Company captain gives the dreadnought rerolls, right? Because the dreadnought surely not got the core keyword, or does it? Because they were really harsh on the keywords on the Blood Angels dreadnoughts. Death Company dreadnought does not have the core keyword. Ugh. I don't see why he wouldn't have the core keyword, but whatever. So it is a good loadout for the dreadnought. But yeah, strange that we don't have the core keyword. We then also have a Death Company squad, and it's just 5 guys with 2 Thunderhammers. Okay, you feel like the Warden is not worth it. Let's see what dreadnoughts he's got then. He's got Leviathan with the Grav Flux and a Storm Cannon, 2 Hunter Killers. A Redemptor with Rocket Pods, Plasma, and the Fist. Fragstorm launchers, heavy flamer. Redemptor with heavy... So both Redemptors have a heavy flamer. One's plasma, one's onslaught. Both have rocket pods. I actually don't like the onslaught cannon, the heavy onslaught cannon on the Redemptor. I think you're better off just picking the plasma. I think the plasma is just going to be more versatile in most situations, and sure, in some situations the onslaught will get more shots, but when we math hammered it out, it didn't particularly do that much more damage because it's just damage 1 and it's just -1 AP. So I think the plasma in most situations, bear in mind the low power plasma on the dreadnought is still 2 damage, so if you're shooting like marines or anything like that, low power shots are still killing them. And then we have the whirlwind. So I guess the reason to take the Warden of the Ancient is he does have 5 dreadnoughts. Now, I guess the question is, how much of a bubble are those dreadnoughts running? The BA dreadnoughts don't have core for God knows reasons. Yeah, I agree with that. What's weird is the BA Codex came out after the Space Marine Codex, so you'd have thought that if the If the Space Marine Dreadnoughts had core, then the BA Dreadnoughts would have core, but I mean, I guess they don't, so... Okay. So the 4 HQ is fine. I think they're reasonably decent HQs, and the Tech Marine makes sense because you're running 5 Dreadnoughts. The Death Company, to me, feels okay. Double hammer, small squad, potentially to harass the backfield or set up some sort of Forlorn Fury. You feel there's too much Death Company because of refusal to die. I mean, maybe. And also, I think that you get insane value out of Chapter Master rerolls. Because I had a Redemptor that had 1 wound left in one of the games. Welcome back, Highland. Nice to see you. I had a Redemptor that had 1 wound left in one game, and I threw Chapter Master rerolls on him for a turn. And sure, he's only hitting on 5s, but when he's rerolling everything, and you get, a bunch of plasma shots and a bunch of onslaught cannons and storm bolters and then fists, with all those rerolls, you actually did okay. Like, he was actually wandering around the battlefield with 1 wound, killing stuff because the Chapter Master rerolls. And yeah, I mean, if you normally only hit on 5s, that's a 33% chance to hit. So I guess if you're on 1 wound with a Redemptor and you get Chapter Master rerolls, you actually get buffed from 33% chance to hit up to 55% chance to hit because of the math with the rerolls, which is kind of crazy, right? Like, it's a significant buff. And I guess you've got your Tech Marine there that you could awaken, so you could have a 1 wound Dreadnought who's hitting on 4s, rerolling everything. So you could have a 1 wound Dreadnought with a 75% chance to hit. I mean, it's kind of mad like that. So I swear by Chapter Master rerolls. I would drop a couple of these Hunter Killer missiles. I don't like Hunter Killers much anyway. I like them even less when you have no way to reroll the shots and it's just a one-off shot, So I would probably drop those 2 Hunter Killers and do that. I would actually drop 1 Thunderhammer and 2 Hunter Killers and make that guy a Chapter Master. I think like that would get you some good value. And I guess like spec him a little bit less, less smashy, I think. But because I think the way he is right now, he's set up to go smash face, which is fine, but actually, yeah, I mean, I don't think he needs... I think you're right, I think 3 Death Company units is too much, and I actually don't think his rerolls give you all that much when you only have 5 Death Company, and you're likely to Forlorn Fury or jump them forward early in the game, then you almost get no value out of the Death Company Captain's rerolls. I mean, I ran the Death Company Captain, and I used him like you say, James. Death Company and Captain are mostly missiles to distract while the Dreads sit up in the middle. Yeah, I mean, I used the Death Company Captain. He was similar to your Captain, right? My one was on a bike. He had the Storm Shield, and he had a Chainsword that was upgraded to the Teeth of Terra. So I guess while you went for like the Hammer of Baal, which I think would be 8 attacks with Imperium Sword, so you get 8 attacks with the Hammer of Baal, minus 3 damage. With the Chainsword, you save yourself some points, right? Because the Chainsword's free. You give him the Teeth of Terra, so I was going for 11 minus 2 damage attacks. And obviously there's ways you can buff that with Death Visions, but I feel like I've dropped him now and I've kept the Chapter Master, and I just don't... I keep finding ways to get value out of the Chapter Master. Another good example of getting value out of the Chapter Master, I guess, is to sometimes later in the game, maybe your Sanguinary Guard want to split off from your Warlord. So Sanguinary Guard usually benefit... They usually need to be near the Warlord, right? So that they get that +1 to hit. So now they can split off, and because you can reroll everything with Chapter Master, that's something you can do. Also, like I said, Redemptors get insane value from Chapter Master even when they're almost low. And then it can be also nice to Chapter Master his own rerolls or his own weapon rolls as well, especially if he's got that Thunderhammer, right? If you're making 8 attacks with a Thunderhammer, probably going to get like a couple of 1s or 2s, so being able to Chapter Master yourself is kind of good as well. I like hunter killers on an ironclad. Yeah, I mean the hunter killers aren't bad, I suppose. Just one strength 10 shot minus 2/6 damage. I mean, it's really just a crack missile, and you would pay 5 points for it. I mean, sure, it's a little bit stronger than a crack missile, but like to me, I would find other ways to spend those points. Like I would put an infernal pistol on. It's a pity the Primaris librarian can't take an infernal pistol, because that's what I would do, or a meltagun or something. But I'd probably put an infernal pistol on one of the Sanguinary Guard, just to give them a little bit more flexibility there. And yeah. So if the Death Company... I don't do crack missiles. Yeah, Hunter Killer Missile. It's just a strength 10 crack missile, right? Hunter Killer Missile. Yeah, it's a strength 10 crack. Like, you know, you fire yourself a crack missile or even a las cannon, same sort of thing. You know, like how many times does it do no damage or it does 1 damage? It just seems like it's a bit of a waste of points, in my opinion. I'd find another way to spend those points. I'd maybe put like the regular onslaught cannon onto one of these redemptors. I think the regular onslaught cannon, I guess the heavy flamers prevented it to be charged, but the onslaught cannon, since it's been buffed to heavy 8, is pretty good. And removing Warden seems like a good idea. 4 CPs to start has felt poor. Yeah, I mean, I think 4 CP is too low to start. I think I recommend starting with 5. And if that means you have to drop a Warlord trait or something, then I think Warden is probably your weakest choice here. Yeah, I would drop the Warden, I think. Alright, let's think about scoring, though. We just have the 1 troop choice, so it's the same as my list. So because we only have 1 troop choice, we have to start slow on like a 6.5. How do we clear infantry screens? Well, we have a lot of fire that can clear infantry screens, right? We have a storm cannon, we have basically like a couple of rocket pods, we have a couple of heavy flamers, we have the onslaught cannon, we have the plasma. I guess sometimes the whirlwind can be used. The Tet Marine, I guess, has his bolter thing. Sanguinary Guard have a bunch of bolters. I guess you've got the Ancient there as well. I usually think that they get most value out of the Ancient when you have like 2 squads of jump units with like 10 plus, or maybe 3 squads of jump units. So I guess I understand why you have the Ancient, but it's a tough one for me. Like, I don't see so much value in it, but it's not bad. But I guess anti-horde infantry, we can probably give you like a 9 for that. You also have the Volkites on the dreadnought, so we have a lot of firepower that can clear out hordes and infantries. How does it do when we have to fight monsters and vehicles and stuff like that? So you've got your 1 plasma, which is a 3 damage weapon. You've got your Graflux Bombard, which is 3 damage. You've got a couple of Hunter Killer missiles. The Death Company Dreadnought's going to need to get into melee. I guess your Tet Marine could do some damage if he gets into melee, but that's not kind of his primary role. You've got the Sanguinary Guard, you've got Librarian Dreadnought who can fly around, and I guess you've got this missile Death Company Captain as well. So I'm just wondering, with 7 attacks on the Death Company Captain, 8 attacks actually, because you've got Imperium Sword, right? So it's 4 attack space, 1 for charging, 6 for Savage Echo, 7 for Imperium Sword, 8 from Black Rage. If you've got 8 attacks and the maximum you can do is 3 damage, right? So that's 21. If you have 8 attacks... No. That's 24 damage, sorry. And if you have 8 attacks that can do 4 damage, that's 32. So 24 versus 32. So if you had a mastercrafted Thunderhammer, and I think we talked about this little last night on stream, if you miss, let's say, 2 additional attacks from having the mastercrafted Thunderhammer, you potentially end up doing the same amount of damage. So the Mastercrafted Thunderhammer, I think when you actually math it out, probably does a little bit better than the Hammer of Baal. I mean, it's -1, it's 1 less AP, so I guess you have to consider that. But yeah, I mean, there's a question mark there, I guess. Is Hammer of Baal or a Mastercrafted Thunderhammer better? If you have Gift of Foresight, I think the Mastercrafted Hammer becomes better. If you have Imperium Sword, you're probably Hammer of Baal is okay. The Ancient is, he does have that +1 to hit. I don't rate on a 4+. The Ancient helps you get some additional attacks. Might of Heroes and the Death Company Captain, then Hammer of Baal, they help him get the turn 1 charge. Okay. Well, I mean, Might of Heroes. If you're adding Might of Heroes, so he has 9 attacks. The more attacks you add, I feel like the more value the Mastercrafted Hammer will bring over the Hammer of Baal. But I don't run either of them. I'm sure I did a video on this a little while ago. Maybe I can actually find it. Hold on, give me just 1 second. I think I called it Brawler. Or no, I think I called it the Top Smash. Best Melee Smash characters. Here we go. Hopefully you can see this. Let me have a look. Let me see. Did I... Maybe it didn't work out that. I thought I did. How did I have this Death Company Captain? Oh, so I actually mathed it out with Hammer of Baal. I thought I tested. Maybe I only tested it for myself. Okay, so I can't quite say which is better. But okay, so I mean, killing monsters, I guess it's pretty decent list. The Dreadnoughts are going to do a lot of work, and I guess Dreadnought-wise, you have like 2 3 damage weapons, 4 3 damage weapons, 5. You got the 2 hammers here, 7. You've got the Blood Talons, 8. You got the Tetmarine, that gives you 9. You've got the Librarian, that gives you 10. And then you're capturing your Dread. So you have like 12 3 damage weapons here. And I guess you look like you have enough stuff to kill out screens. So enemy screening units from you should be able to deal with that pretty effectively. So I guess like your anti-vehicle monsters is pretty good. Mobility, I guess you have the Wrath of Baal, so that gives you good mobility. Dreadnoughts aren't going to be super mobile, but they don't need to be. Incursors are a little bit less mobile than they once were, but I still think overall it's generally a very mobile list. And then having those like 12 3 damage weapons, that puts you in a good spot. You definitely have a good amount of firepower. 2 Redemptors and Leviathan to me feels like a very good amount of firepower, backed up by a Tetmarine. And then obviously the Whirlwind for suppression fire. So I think your specialization is probably spot on at like a 9.5. Like I don't think there's too much that's specialized. Maybe it suffers a little bit like my list is, where like it's an elite based list, and sometimes when you have these elite based lists you suffer a little bit in troops. And yeah, I mean, I guess there's a lot of debate still going on around the Sanguinary Ancient. The one thing to say maybe is that having that Sanguinary Ancient, do you know what, we're going to make specialization a 9, because having that Sanguinary Ancient puts you on 5 characters, and 5 characters makes it easy for the enemy to pick Assassinate, right? If I see an enemy list that has 5 characters, that's an easy Assassinate pick. You're going to make good points out of Assassinate. And yeah, the Ancient's a funny one. 125 points, he was too expensive. At 85 that he was before, he was probably too cheap. I think he's probably balanced now, in my opinion, about 100 points, because he has no invulnerable save, and I think that's kind of his big weakness. And he only has 4 wounds, right? So like 4 wounds and no invulnerable save. And I think he worked well in previous editions because he could carry that banner that gave him the 5++. Yeah, so he basically gets the same number of attacks as a Sanguinary Guard. I didn't realise that. That's poor. So he just gets 2 more wounds on a Sanguinary Guard. I mean, I would have thought for the points they're charging here, he would get an additional attack for sure. I think he's balanced about 100 points. So I think that this list is something like a 42 out of 50. And you obviously struggle a little bit to make a good score in OBSEC when you only have one OBSEC unit. But all these other categories are pretty good. It may be a case of like you're trying to put a tiny little bit too much in, right? Like you've put the Dreadnoughts and the Tech Marine in, but you've also put the Ancient and the Sanguinary Guard in, and this guy is worth like 3.5 Sanguinary Guard, you know, and like our Sanguinary Guard is 7, so it's not the biggest. I wonder if this list would be better actually if you'd lost the Ancient, added 1 more Sanguinary Guard, and then used whatever points were left over, like 70 or 80 points, to flesh out this Death Company. And I wouldn't put any more hammers in it, I would just get some more bolter and chainsaw guys in it. Or, in my opinion right now, Vanguard Veterans are better than Death Company, so because they can do actions, because they can fall back, because they have Storm Shields, the only thing that Death Company are going to be better at than Vanguard Veterans is surviving against mortal wounds, and you know the chances of surviving those mortal wounds are slim to none anyway, right? You're just surviving them on 6s. So I would run 5 Vanguard Veterans, possibly. Or something around that nature. And then I do think you'll get more value out of a Chapter Master, especially with all these Dreadnoughts, right? All these Dreadnoughts are going to benefit from a reroll 1's aura, right? Well, the Redemptor is, or both Redemptors are, I guess. So you use the Tech Marine to buff up the Leviathan to make him hit on 2s. Use the Chapter Master rerolls to make one of the other Redemptors hit on 2s, or reroll all their hits. And that's going to get a lot of value throughout the game. And then later in the game, you could use that rerolls as well. That's just my opinion. 5 more Death Company are going to be better than the Ancient. Yeah, and I mean, 5 Vanguard Vets are probably going to be more useful than the Ancient as well. I mean, I assume that you run the Sanguinary Guard to follow the Librarian Dreadnought around, and if that is the case, then, you know, the +1 to hit from the banner, like what you're actually casting it on, like the Death Company, it doesn't feel like it's great value if it's only 5 Death Company. If it was a 10-man Death Company, then that might be another question, or another thing, right? So I think 42 is a reasonable score, but I do think there's a few improvements here that you can make fairly easily based on what you already have, or close to what you already have here. Like, I don't think you need to change too much to... And remember, no one really scores over like 45. Like 45 out of 50 is like a really solid list. It's really hard to score higher than that, because to get a 45 score, you know, to get these higher scores than that, it's almost like you have to sacrifice one category to boost up another category, you know? I was wondering, I'm on the cusp of starting Blood Angels, but I prefer to run Primaris only if possible, or as close to as possible. Would that be possible in a semi-competitive nature? Is the stream fuzzy today? If the stream is fuzzy, maybe you just need to change your settings and turn it up. I get like the stream health thing, and it says the stream is healthy, but that's not always right. YouTube sometimes lies to me. Only Primaris is difficult, probably for a bunch of factions. I think it's difficult for Blood Angels as well, because there's no real belly Primaris units with jump packs. We are hoping to get some soon, but there isn't any right now. So, semi-competitive is a very abstract term, right? Like, will you be able to do okay? Will you be able to make army lists that compete? Yeah, sure. Compete against like your friends down the, your local games, sure, but in the highest levels of competitive play, you want to take all the tools available to you, and our strongest unit in terms of damage output is Sanguinary Guard and their Firstborn. So, but I mean, Sanguinary Guard are awesome. That's what we've been doing on stream for this last week. Look, we're just painting Sanguinary Guard. Look at these guys; they're awesome. Right? Why would you not want to paint these cool ass guys? And this one's very much maybe just half done. But we've been painting them on stream, having a bit of fun with them. Okay, you're welcome, James. No problem. Good afternoon, AR. How you doing? Alright, so let's have a look at list number 2 for today, and that is list submitted by Lagmeister. And cool. So hi Blood Angels Commander, I have a 2K list that I would like you to have a look at. It's based off your 11 win streak list with some alterations depending on what models I have. Do you know what? I had a very quick look at this. You're welcome, Danny. And I kind of like your list a lot, I think, Lagmeister. It's 8:36 in the morning. Well, it's 4:36 in the afternoon here, so good morning. I'm impressed that you're awake for the stream at 8:36 in the morning, especially on... Is it Sunday or is it Monday then? It must be Sunday. Okay. So, 1900 points, starting CP 5, which is what I sort of recommend you don't go below for starting CP, and we start with a patrol detachment that has the captain on the bike, who is the chapter master. He is the Thunderhammer, the bolt gun, the infernal pistol. He is Soul Warden and Rites of War traits, and he is the Angel's Artifice relic. So, this is a very survivable chapter master. Toughness 6, 2+ save, 4+ invulnerable save. He's granting a feel no pain against mortal wounds around him in a 6-inch aura, I believe Soul Warden is. And Rites of War is also granting obsec to all allied units within 6 inches as well. I guess we'll go through this list, but I'm not 100% sure that you need Rites of War. Yes, 6 inches as Soul Warden is... I was correct. And Rites of War is a 6-inch, you're adding obsec. Now, the reason that I don't know if you need that is because, like you said just a minute ago, we win a lot of games and we don't have obsec units. And we fight against obsec armies every week and we still win the game. So, there's something to be said about Blood Angels. If you're on an objective with an enemy, you're going to be able to kill them, hopefully in the charge or even from a heroic intervention or whatever. So, Rites of War is a maybe for me. I don't know if it's 100% needed, but I understand the logic behind it. We then have our Sanguinary Priest, who is the Chief Apothecary, and he has a Selfless Healer. This has gone up in points now, though, right? This is 155 points. They have made that more expensive. Did you see the comment to the original post as the changes I made after chapter approved? I did not, Lagmeister. Let me see if I can find that real quick. Thanks for pointing that out. I only get notifications when people put in new comments, so if people reply to a comment, I don't get a notification for it, so that's why I haven't seen it. And I get literally hundreds of comments every day, so it's impossible for me to keep up with the replies unless I was going to sit on YouTube all the time. Let me have a look. Is this replace attack bikes with 3 multi-melt eradicators, multi-melter and sergeant? Is this the bit? Replace attack bikes with 3-man eradicators, multi-melter and sergeant, and heavy melt rifles and the other 2. Replace plasma inceptors with assault bolter inceptors, and replace sergeant of the Vanguard veteran squads with a Thunderhammer infernal pistol. Are these the changes? Soul Warden is going to get important when Grey Knights and Thousand Suns came out. Yeah, I don't actually have a problem with Soul Warden at all. And I mean, it is not, it is certainly nice to have that feel no pain against mortal wounds. I don't have a problem with that at all. I'm not 100% sold on Rites of War. Anyway, moving on. we just have the Infiltrator Squad, and that's the whole detachment. That's a pretty interesting patrol detachment, 2 HQs and our 1 troops. We then move into the Librarian with the 4 swords, Smite, Null Zone, Psychic Fortress, Shield of Sanguinius. You can't do this anymore, right? You know that. You can't mix powers anymore, so you would have to drop Shield of Sanguinius and take another Space Marine power. So I guess the 2 options probably are like Veil of Time or Might of Heroes, if you want to keep that relic. I mean, the other option would be to just drop the relic and save yourself a command point, which is also an option, really. The Librarian Dreadnought has the Meltagun, and he is Quickening in Wings, and he is the Gift of Foresight Warlord trait for 155 points. Yeah, I mean, I sort of get the logic on giving replace Shield with Might of Heroes. Okay, I sort of get the logic on giving the Librarian Dreadnought Gift of Foresight, but the thing I don't like about it is the reroll from Gift of Foresight for the save once per turn, which is basically twice per battle round, is super strong, so you don't get it. I guess if the Dreadnought gets hit with more than a -3 weapon, and there's so many Meltaguns right now, the gift is to guarantee the Halberd. I mean, that's an interesting point. Yeah, okay, I give you that. But yeah, I feel sad that you don't get the gift to help you with the save, because I think the save help has saved my captain on the bike so many times. Alright, so it's a Dreadnought with a Meltagun and a close combat weapon. So this is an old school Dreadnought. We don't see many of these chicken Dreadnoughts these days. Or we don't see many of them in lists, I guess. We then have a Redemptor with a heavy onslaught cannon, the onslaught cannon, and the 2 storm bolters. I for sure would just swap out the heavy onslaught cannon for the plasma. I see, like, you're the second list today that has the heavy onslaught cannon. And I don't know if I have the math for it handy, but I did see, like, because I did a video on Redemptor Dreadnoughts maybe a few months ago now, and I think in most situations, even though you think the heavy onslaught is going to be better, like, because, you know, it's like heavy 12 and stuff, I think in most situations it turns out that, like, do you know what, I think I might have it here. Yeah, okay, let's have a look at this slide. So here's your plasma, and here's its wounds against toughness 4, 7, 8, and then that's actual damage against toughness 4, 7, 8, and then here's your heavy onslaught. So your heavy onslaught, I guess the difference, it's actually going to do less damage against like toughness 4 and stuff. I guess the difference is going to be that you know, your 1 damage is going to flow over, right? Whereas like the plasma is going to be less shots, so you're going to lose some damage. But to me, it just feels like, based on the numbers here, and maybe there's one other slide that shows it as well, or maybe, yeah, you know, we actually fire it against a few different models here, and again we've got the plasma just show it, like, if you fire against infantry with a 3+ save, characters, infantry with a 3+5+, monsters, armors, in every situation the plasma is going to do more damage. Now, yes, in some situations you might get 1 additional point of wounds or something from that heavy cannon, right? Because it's against one wound enemy models, you might get a small advantage in some situations, but I don't think it's worth taking it for that sort of like niche situation, right? Whereas like in all the other situations, the plasma is going to give you more versatility, it's going to give you more options. If the enemy has a rhino and you really need to get inside the rhino, you're never going to open up a rhino with a heavy onslaught cannon. Whereas if you've got that macro plasma, you're like, yeah, I'm going to shoot the plasma on high power and I'm going to blow your rhino away, right? So I just feel like because of that, and you never know who you face, I prefer the plasma. But if you always face horde armies and you get more value in the heavy onslaught, then go for it. But like the maths sort of support the fact that in most situations it's better to just take the plasma. 7 Sangre Guard, all swords. 5 Terminator Assault Squad with Lightning Claws on the Sergeant and Thunderhammers on everybody else. Strange choice to put Lightning Claws on the Sergeant and the Thunderhammers on everyone else. I would have thought you'd have wanted the extra attack from the Thunderhammer, and I thought you would have wanted the extra survivability on the Sergeant with the Storm Shield. because one additional Thunderhammer attack I feel like is more valuable than one additional Lightning Claw attack. But I mean, I guess maybe there's some logic around that. 5 Vanguard Veterans, Sergeant with Thunderhammer, Infernal Pistol, a Thunderhammer, a Storm Shield, and then 3 Lightning Claws on Storm Shields. Yep, and then you had 3 Inceptors with the Plasmas, which you were going to swap out for 3 Inceptors with Assault Bolters. We were also going to swap out one of the weapons on the Sergeant for a Thunderhammer Infernal Pistol, and then finally we're going to swap out the Attack Bikes for Heavy Melter Rifles, just because of the new points costs, and then the Whirlwind's in there as well. Good afternoon, Krychek. How you doing? Good afternoon, Mick. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being here, guys. Okay. My general strategy will be roughly the same as what you've employed in your stream games. Castle up turn 1 and 2 using Psychic Fortress for defense, for the Dreadnoughts, Inceptors, and Attack Bikes to stop enough enemies, and then letting loose once the Salt Doctrine is active. And I think this is a very valid Blood Angel strategy. I do this every week, right? And I think it's the strongest way to play Blood Angels. Now, I'm sure some people disagree and Forlorn Fury and stuff like that, but I like it a lot. I think it's super strong. Okay, and then I picked Soul Warden because my local meta has things like Flying, Edbat, and Catan powers. Terminators are there to draw fire and to be revived by the Priest. Vanguards will go into reserve and come down for, like, it's not called Scramblers anymore, it's Retrieve Octarius Data Cores or something, but yeah, I get you. And then Charging turn 3 and Infiltrators for Deep Strike Denial. So it is very similar to my list, I guess. The core of it seems similar. You know, you've got those Vanguard Veterans to do your objectives, you've got the decent sized Sanguinary Guard, you've got similar 4 HQ choices, just the one squad of Infiltrators sort of potentially playing on defense to begin with, and then maybe Guerrilla Tacticsing later on. Eradicators and Inceptors, it's hard to beat, and then your Terminators for the middle of the board and the Whirlwind to potentially stop some unit firing Overwatch or stop some unit fighting first when they charge. Okay, so yeah, I mean, you're the same. I guess one OBSEC unit is going to give you 6.5. How are you going to deal with Horde armies? So against Horde armies, we're going to have some Lightning Claws, we're going to have those Angelus Bolters, we're going to have a Redemptor, we have a second Dreadnought, and then we have the Assault Inceptors as well. So I think you don't have quite as much firepower as some of the other lists we've looked at. I mean, let me think. You've got about 300 points here, and then... But, I mean, if you shoot all your firepower in turn 1, I think it's actually not bad. I think it's like an 8-5 here. And that's probably, again, very similar to what I'm scoring in my list. I think the damage you can output in the shooting phase is similar to what I can probably put out. Our Primarch has arrived, guys, in the chat. Hello, Sanguinius. Thanks for joining us today. And then we're talking anti-vehicle and monsters. And let's talk about 3 damage weapons real quick. So you have the 3 multi-meltas and the Eradicators. You have a couple of Thunderhammers here. You have another 4 Thunderhammers here, so that gives you 9. The Redemptor and another Dreadnought, so you're up to like 13. And then the other Dreadnought and Librarian and the Captain. So I guess you've got like 17 or 18 3 damage weapons. So you're all good in that department for sure. And because of that, I guess you can probably deal with monsters and infantry very effectively. Or sorry, monsters and vehicles very effectively. I like this a lot. I'm between a 9 and a 9.5. I think we're going to go for the 9.5. I think mobility is probably the same, like an 8.5, because you have a couple of Dreadnoughts and they're not mobile, but it doesn't matter that much, not so much. But I think we just have to score the same mobility and an 8.5. And then I think specialization here is probably a 9.5. We have a ton of 3 damage weapons. We have a ton of psychic potential. We also have that fight last ability. I'm trying to think what the weakness is. Yeah, I'm not really sure what your weakness is here, right? So you've got Inceptors, you've got Eradicators, you've got 2 Dreadnoughts. Well, 3 if you include the Librarian Dreadnought. You've got the Whirlwind. I Yeah, I'm not sure there is a weakness. Tabletop Chuck gave it 42. I think I'm going one higher. I think that's going to be the highest one of the week. Or it's going to be close. Usually we get one list per week that's like above 42.5, and I think this is going to be a 42.5. Actually, you had Rights of War, though, didn't you? Yeah, okay, so Rights of War, I think that changes your OBSEC. I'm trying to remember. I think I said if you have Rights of War, we give you an extra point for OBSEC, so I think that actually puts you at 43.5. So, I think this will be the list to beat this week by you, Lagmeister. Let me just highlight you in green or something. Because it is similar to my list. I guess the big question, though, is like, and it's a weird question to ask, right? Because like adding that Rights of War obviously is going to give you one extra point here. Having the Soul Warden as well is kind of partly why you've got 9.5 here, because you're going to have a bubble of Feel No Pain Against Mortal Wounds. Like you said, that's going to be good against Catan and other armies that get units. He's got no Flamers. So weakness to transport assault units. And I said the same thing about putting the Thunderhammer and the Storm Shield on the Sergeant. Yeah, I mean, I guess you do not have any Flamers, that is true. But as good as I like the Flamers, Steel Rain, they are difficult to use effectively, right? Because if the enemy ever gets a charge on your Flamers from an obscuring position, then you're not going to get your Overwatch anyway. I'm not seeing a lot of lieutenants. Are the rerolls for wounds not important or useful? I mean, they are, but our HQ choices are so stacked with really good units, tabletop. So the way that you get lieutenant rerolls, I guess, is you Wisdom of the Ancient on a Dreadnought, right? Like, pay the 1 CP and pop that and try and position that Dreadnought very cleverly. But yeah, I mean, we've just got so many good HQ units, and I ran a list with 5 characters once, and I ran it once, I think, and that was actually the last game I lost, and it was the only game I lost in the last 25 games, or it might actually be the only game I've lost this year. I think it is the only game I've lost this year. So the only game I've lost this year was when I ran 5 characters, and obviously my opponent picked Assassinate, and like I just thought like that just made it too easy for them to pick. It made it too easy for them to choose a secondary, and you never want to make it. You never want to make it where your opponent doesn't even have to think. They're like, "Oh, that's an easy secondary to pick." And I mean, I guess the Flamers do defend you in some ways. I mean, that's the strength of the Flamers, and I mean that's why one of the next models I think I'd buy is a Dreadnought with double heavy Flamer, and I mean we've talked about that at length. So yeah, maybe Lagmeister, maybe your specialization should be 9 because you don't have any Flamers, but Flamers are pretty situational. I think we'll go for the 9.5. I'm going to say that you lost half a point for having no Flamers. I think that most of the rest of this list is very good. I like it a lot, and it's nice to see someone take a list that I've made and not just copy it. Just like you've actually put thought into this and you've changed it. And I think some of it, like, I'm not going to say you've changed it for the better, right? Because my list can't be made better. Joking. But I do think you've changed it to make it very interesting, right? Like, and as more armies come out, this could actually work really, really well. Because the captain on the bike with the priest is already super survivable, so maybe I've wasted points and made him more survivable than he needs to be, and maybe adding something like Rights of War could bring a lot of utility to units around them or whatever. Okay. I hope that helps. I was going to say, I don't know if I have any suggestions. I mean, we had a couple of minor suggestions. And maybe the Flamer idea works. I mean, your Terminator Assault Squads, if you did want Flamers, I don't own any... I don't own any Aggressors with Flamers. I kind of regret making all mine Bolters, but like the bolters were just so good last edition. So maybe if you own Flamestorm aggressors, that could be an option in here. I mean, I believe that they're 40 points per model, right? So you could basically have 5 Flamestorm aggressors, and that keeps them within the right points number for transhuman, for the 1 CP transhuman. And if you're going to use the Terminators to hold up the middle of the board or something, and potentially be rezzed by the priest, then aggressors with Flamestorms could do just that as well. And also, they're kind of unchargeable if you place them right due to the amount of flame shots coming out. So yeah, the thing I guess with, and I guess that like, so I use Blade Guard veterans every game, and I just basically, we don't have them in a transport, we just have them moving towards the middle of the board, right? Like the idea is that the Blade Guard veterans move towards the middle and hold the middle, and I have them in my list with Centurions, and the Centurions are there as well, and we're basically trying to get to the middle of the board and hold it. Now, you don't really, I guess you've got like the 2 Dreadnoughts potentially can move to the middle of the board with the Terminator Assault Squad, but like, I haven't compared Terminators against aggressors in a very long time. And I guess you do have a bunch of Terminators with the Storm Shields. The Storm Shields do have quite a bit of a better save than the aggressors, but maybe, do you know what, maybe there's a play there where like, you take 3 aggressors with flame, I think they're 40 points per model, and then you take 3 Blade Guard veterans, they're 105 points a model. So you need to find like 20, 30 points there, but then you have an option where it's like, potentially that's better, because both those units can get that 1 CP transhuman, and transhuman is crazy good against, like, you know, like Andrew likes to run so many multi-meltas against me. I actually sometimes wonder if Centurions would be outdone by aggressors just if you paid the 1 CP to transhuman the aggressors, right? Because wounding on 4s with like multi-meltas, you know, you're basically cutting their damage potential right down, I suppose. So yeah, I'm just annoyed. I don't know if I have it in me right now to want to make more aggressors, Flamestorm ones, but I actually think like the Flamestorm ones are pretty good. I wonder if you can still buy. Yeah, he made some changes to the list, Highland, because I guess the points costs are wrong. So he had a little bit up the top where he was flicking some things out. Oh, or this list might. Yeah, I don't know where that bit has gone. It looks like it's disappeared, but there was a little bit where we talked about swapping out some models. It's a very good question. Like, you know, they did easy to build aggressors. Do they still exist? Like, oh, nice. So you can actually still pick up easy to build aggressors. Is that just one of them for $4? $5? Or is that the whole sprue? Oh wow, that's 3 of them for $4.99. I'll watch that actually. Okay. Yeah, so maybe how much does the boss of aggressors actually cost? But yeah, they did do easy to build versions of aggressors, so maybe it's something. Maybe that's something just worth keeping an eye on, because the easy to build ones came with the Flamestorms, and I never made any with Flamestorms, but yeah, interesting. Okay. So yeah, in his new list, he's going to use heavy melter rifles. And do you know what? I've played 2 games now with those heavy melter rifles. Those heavy melter rifles have been winning tournaments, and honestly, they're absolutely disgusting, right? Like, I cannot believe how much damage those heavy melter rifles do. Because, like, we played orcs this week, right? And obviously orcs are a melee army, and he wants to get close to me. And when he was within 12 range, I think I had 2 eradicators, and I was like, I've done 16 damage, and now I need to roll 4d6. And Brett was like, what are you on about, 16 damage? And I was like, it's d6 plus 4 per model. And he was like, no, it's d6 plus 2. And I was like, no, it's d6 plus 4 when you're in half range. So your dreadnought's taking 16 damage plus 4d6. And he's like, it doesn't have 16 wounds. And I was like, well, it's fucking dead. You know, I was like, this is crazy how much damage those eradicators do. And I think if you're running the heavy melter rifle eradicators, if you can use your chapter master wisely with them, like, holy damn, are those guys good. I don't. On my painting table behind me this morning, I was painting heavy melter rifle eradicators. Okay, so yeah, I think Lagmeister, your list is going to be the list to beat this week. Cool list, man. Thanks for the submission. Hopefully, maybe we made a couple interesting suggestions, but I think it seems like a solid list. I guess as things start to open up and you get to play it, let me know the weaknesses and then submit it again or tweak it. Cool. Okay. So this is Ben congratulating me on 5k subscribers. We're a little bit over 5k now, Ben. And you know what? After this list, we'll do the giveaway. So if you didn't yet put a hashtag bike on last night's stream, then go do that now, and we'll do the giveaway literally right after this next list. Okay, below is my Blood Angels list. Long time Nid player venturing over to the other side. So, hi Ben, welcome to a real army, the Blood Angels. We are awesome. The Eradicators destroyed a Riptide in my previous match by shooting. Didn't have the CTP to buff the shooting and the 3++. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say about those heavy melter rifle Eradicators, but like, I've been pushed into them because the attack bites have got nerfed. But I actually think I'm just going to keep them, because the biggest weakness of like multi-meltas and stuff is when you finally make the wound and you roll your dice and you're like, oh, 1 damage. The +2 on maximum range and the +4 in half range, it's like death if they want to come in within half range. It's so crazy. A single multi-melta shot doing 10 damage. I mean, like, that is just insane. I don't think I'm going to use Eradicators. Yeah, well, I mean, don't use them if you don't think they fit with the army. See, the thing is, and I guess this is what some of the other Warhammer channels were saying about Blood Angels. They were like saying, oh, well, if you pick those units, are you still Blood Angels? And I was like, I will pick what I think is strongest to win games. I'm not gonna rule out any unit in the Space Marine Codex because it's not Blood Angels. I'll just use whatever I think is strongest and what synergizes with the army, you know? They look better than the Playmobil bikes. I like the bikes, but they're kind of a classic model, aren't they? If you put the bikes on a base, I think they're pretty cool. Alright, so this next list then. HQ is the Death Company captain on the bike with the Chain Sword, the Storm Shield, the Teeth of Terror, and Imperium Sword. And this is how I was running my Death Company captain. 130 points. I think he's okay. I don't think he's amazing. I don't think you get as much value out of him as Chapter Master. And he's designed to be a bit more smashy. I think he's okay. I played him in the list that won 11 games in a row, but like I never felt like I really gelled with his character. Like I never felt like he did as much as it sounds like he should do on paper. Like I thought he was okay. Like maybe an 8 out of 10. We then have the Primaris Chaplain on the bike with Mantra of Strength, and how many CPs is he starting with? 11. Then I would upgrade this guy with the Benediction of Fury. Give him the Relic Crozius. It's well worth it. You don't need to start the game with 10 CP, 100%. Give him the Relic Crozius. You may even want to give him like Gift of Foresight. Who's your Warlord? I would make this guy your Warlord and give him Gift of Foresight. Because he's got that 4+ invulnerable save, so that would give him like a ton of benefit on his saving throw, and I would just make this guy the Selfless Healer. I mean, unless you 100% need your priest with your Sanguinary Guard, I guess. But I mean, I kind of feel like you're probably going to want your Chaplain with your Sanguinary Guard anyway, because he's going to be doing a ton of damage racing around the board with a bike. So I vased 3V's my Eldar, and they annihilated a jet bike unit, but they didn't do much else. I mean, I guess maybe you know, every unit can have an off day, I guess. But for me, I really like the heavy melta rifle eradicators. I do think it's causing issues. I agree with that, Steel Rain. I think when we look at Andrew's list at the end of today's stream, you'll see that like Andrew's so focused on melta guns. I think that I'll probably beat him again just because his list is one-dimensional and is absolutely stacked full of melta guns, and we'll just try and use the terrain against him and we'll beat him based on that. But yeah, I think the Melta is too attractive to some people right now. We then have Assault Intercessors and 2 Infiltrator Squads, and I like this. 2 Infiltrator Squads can zone out a huge amount of the backfield. One Assault Squad to push forward. Blade Guard Veteran is in a 5-man. Has he got a transport? No. I don't think Blade Guard Veterans need to be in a 5-man if you don't have a transport. For me, they're going to the middle of the board and holding the middle. So I would make them smaller, but let's see what else he's got. We've got a Centurion Assault Squad with the assault launchers and melta guns. Again, maybe this is someone focused on melta guns. I actually like the Centurions a lot with the flamers because it gives you like great counter charge potential. And Centurions with the drills do so much damage in the charge anyway. If your Centurions charge an enemy, it's like 16 attacks, hitting on 3s, then you'll wound everything in the game on 2s because their drills are strength 10, -4, 3 damage. So if you're in a Savage Echoes, your drills are -5, 3 damage. So I don't know if you need to spend 30 points on adding melta guns here to all these Centurions. I'd probably keep them with flamers, or at least I'd keep 1 or 2 with flamers to help if you're going to get charged. But I mean, it's hard to argue 6 melta shots. You're going to probably hit 4 of them, I guess, because you hit on 3s. So if a bunch of Centurions are powering forward at you and they're armed with melta guns, the enemy are going to have to deal with them. Just the flamers maybe... the flamers for me seem pretty interesting. And yeah, you're right, you could pop open some transporters with those melta guns and then get to the juicy innards. That's definitely true. If you're going to do that, though, maybe 3 meltas and 3 flamers would be fine, or 4 and 2 or something. We then, and remember the assault launchers prevent them being overwatched as well, so they've got that. We have 10 Death Company intercessors, and we don't see this very often at all. Yeah, I mean, no one submits lists with Death Company intercessors. I guess they're foot slogging it, and they're... So the Centurions, the Blade Guard Veterans, and the Death Company Intercessors are all foot slogging it. Yeah, I mean, you're right. The carts look so much worse than the attack bikes. I actually don't own any of those carts. We then have a crazy expensive Death Company squad, and I personally don't like this. I like having a couple of cheap Death Company models, because this squad is basically every model is 40 points. So if you lose one model, you're taking a 40-point model off the board. That's crazy. It's crazy for a 2-wound Marine with 3+ armor save. 40 points is not good value there. So I would drop this to like 6 or 7 Death Company Intercessors and have 3 Death Company guys with just bolt pistol and chain sword. So when this crazy expensive squad starts taking wounds, you take it on the crazy cheap guys. 100%, that's what I would do. And yeah, Steel Rain's saying Death Company are too fragile to be that expensive. You're 100% right. I mean, they're 10 points more expensive than Sanguinary Guard at that point, and Sanguinary Guard are like, well, maybe not 10 now with the changes, 8 points more. And Sanguinary Guard have a 2+ save. And also -1 to hit in close combat. So yeah. We then have a bunch of Sanguinary Guard. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Is that 9? 2, I can't count. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, I think. I really can't count. So I think it's 10 with 4 Power Fists. I guess with the nerfs to their points cost, you kind of just need to drop the Power Fists on all of them if you want to keep 10. And that would be the same 320 points. I don't think you need Power Fists on Sanguinary Guard. The +1 you'll get to your wound, you'll lose -1 to hit, so it'll pretty much average out. I guess if your Sanguinary Guard are near both a Chapter Master and a Warlord, then it's okay to have the Power Fists, probably. But in this situation, I think it's wasted points. I'd get rid of all these Power Fists and just put in swords or axes. I like swords and axes sort of an equal split, but I think the way things are going recently, I think there's maybe a small advantage to the swords still. I felt like the swords are still better when I play games, but I think the axes are coming around. So swords and axes equal split, and then heavy melta rifle eradicators. So this is an interesting list. We've got the 3 troop choices for we have 2 or 3 units that can hold the middle. We have 2 or 3 offensive units. We have the eradicators for fire support. And then we have, I'd say, 2 really good HQ and 1 average. But there is no whirlwind. But I suppose the Centurions can turn off Overwatch with assault launchers against certain targets. And there's no psychic either. So that means no denies, that sort of stuff. So OBSEC, I guess, 2 infiltrator squads and 1 other unit. I'm giving like an 8-5 for that. Anti-horde infantry. It's kind of light. We don't have a lot of anti-infantry firepower. Period in this list, right? There's very little anti-infantry firepower. I'd say you're probably going to have to clear out enemy hordes or infantries and that with your close combat units, and you don't necessarily want to be doing that. You want to be killing the most, like if this squad of Death Company with all these special weapons has to kill poxwalkers or something to try and get to Blight Lord Terminators, that's huge. That's crazy bad for us, right? So I think I'm going for like a 7. I guess 3 damage weapons. Then we've got 2 infernal pistols here, 2 thunder hammers, another infernal pistol. That gives us 5. The meltaguns and the drills, I guess that puts us up to 11. But I mean, a lot of the 3 damage weapons are in the Centurion squad at this point. You got the 3 heavy melta rifles, that puts us up on like 14. If we upgrade this chaplain, we have like 15. So we have a good amount of 3 damage weapons. We do not have a good amount of, we don't have suppression fire. We don't have any psyker. Probably 3 Death Company units is too many, right? Again, like Steel Rain says, because you're only going to be able to play refusal on 1 of them. So I guess like your specialization is going to be down to maybe like a 6-5. Mobility is also going to be a bit lower as well, because you have a bunch of units that are on foot: Blade Guard veterans, Centurions, Death Company intercessors, assault intercessors. So there's a lot of stuff that is on foot here. And I guess against monsters and vehicles, we did have like 15 3 damage weapons if we managed to make those key charges. And I do think like a lot of points in this army comes down to these 2 squads. So we definitely need to change how that squad works. I guess like it's an 8-5 or something. So I'm not sure how experienced you are, Ben. Thank you, Danny. That's very much appreciated. I'm surprised it didn't pop up on my screen and say that you'd subbed, or maybe I missed it. But appreciate the subscription nonetheless. Okay, yeah, so I'm not sure exactly how exactly this list is planned to run, like what units are going to the middle of the board. But I think I'd probably start with the Death Company captain. Like your Primaris chaplain on a bike is essentially your smash captain in this list. So, like on the last list, we talked about like we don't really think 2 smash captains is the right way forward, and I tend to agree with that, right? Like in my list, I play the Librarian Dreadnought as the smash. I have a utility librarian, I have a healer, and then I have the chapter master. Oh, there we go. There's a subscription. So thank you so much, Danny. I appreciate that. I guess the little pop-up thing was lagging. Yeah, so I don't think you need 2 smash characters, and I think this is what you're trying to do. I think you change this character into a chapter master or just a regular captain, and then look at other ways you can get buffs out of him. And I think you have to, like, I don't think the Blade Guard veterans need to be 5 unless there's a very real reason that you think they need to be 5. And this Death Company squad needs a change around as well. So I think a few changes, you could probably push this up to like a 40, 41 or something. But I do also think right now Whirlwind is super important. If you don't know why, then watch my video on Whirlwinds. Let me see what the video was called again. I think it's called like Indirect Fire or something. Too many video. Apparently, I make a lot of Blood Angels videos. All my thumbnails, like when I'm looking at them like this, it's just like they're all Blood Angels thumbnails. Yeah, Tactics Indirect Fire. Watch this video. Go find it. Tactics Indirect Fire Blood Angels. If you don't have a whirlwind in your list, that video should probably convert you to putting a whirlwind in your list, and you just have to find the points for it because it's so important. And then I would like to, in my opinion, I think Blood Angels work best when we have a little bit more fire support than this. And some people, you can disagree with that. I'm fine if you want to disagree with that. But I tried to run lists like this where there was all combat and they were super combat heavy at the start of 8th edition and 9th edition, the start of 9th edition, and I was not winning games consistently. And now, since I made those changes to include the whirlwind, to include a bit more fire support, to include a bit more force multipliers, like the chapter master over like a smash character, then everything changed for me, and we start winning every week. We're gonna have a very tough game tomorrow, but normally we win every week. Okay, and two things then. I guess everyone that's in the chat right now, thank you for being here. We are going to add some loyalty points to all current viewers. So you guys are all going to get, 100. Yeah, 100 loyalty points to everyone that's in the chat right now. So you can now type. There's 2 new commands in the chat. You can type !commands. And I guess we'll use this as things go forward. So you don't even have to buy a whirlwind, just get a launcher from Cromlech and stick it on top of a rhino. Yeah, I mean that's a cheap way of doing it. So if you type !commands, you should see the current commands available on this channel, and the new 2 that I just added last night are !points and !black rage. And basically, as you watch, for every 5 minutes you watch, I think you get 1 point every time. Let me just double check it's loyalty. For every 5 minutes you watch, you get a point. Every time you subscribe, you get 10 points. Every time you pay for a month of membership, you get 100 points. And every time you do a super chat, you get 100 points as well. And tomorrow night, when we're playing Sisters of Battle, and Andrew is bringing a brand new list that has all those new Sisters of Battle toys. With Andrew bringing all his new Sisters of Battle toys, what was I trying to say? You'll be able to bet on the game. That's what I'm trying to say. So tomorrow night you'll be able to bet on who's going to win, and betting will open like for half an hour at the beginning of the game. So when the stream starts, there'll be half an hour, and I think the points take a few minutes. I see a lot of you guys typing #points in chat. They take it like they don't update 100% in real time. So like if I just gave you all 100 points, it should take like 10 minutes, and then you should get your points. Just started 40k in Blood Angels. Welcome, Pongs. Thanks for coming to hang out today. We are the best chapter, so I am glad you're here. So yeah, tomorrow night, for the first half an hour of the stream, you'll be able to bet on either Sisters of Battle or Blood Angels to win. You'll be able to bet as many of the points that you have. So if you have 100 points and want to wager them all, you can, and then at the end you'll just win double the number of points that you bet. So you don't have to bet if you don't want to, but I just thought it'd be a cool thing to do. So and like I am kind of new to streaming, so I will bet on beer and sportsmanship. I mean, that could be an option in future bets, to be fair. And you know what? Once all the restrictions on COVID come down and stuff, I want to have one of our streams. I want to have a stream where like every time a unit dies, you have to take a shot of like alcohol or something, and I want to have like a fun, interesting, different stream at some point. But so betting will open tomorrow night it's just for a bit of fun on the games. So yeah, we're doing a giveaway now real quick before we get into the next list, and the giveaway is going to be on this video. And let me see how I do that again. Pick YouTube comments. Giveaway winner. Here we go. Alright, so enter your video URL. This was this hobby stream from last night. Filter duplicate users. Get YouTube comments. Does it tell me how many it got? 14 unique comments. Okay, guys. So whoever, I'm going to click start here. Whoever's name it picks is winning. The last biker. Yeah, Space Marine is the last biker. So the idea is you take this biker and you convert him into a chapter master. I actually sent some of these out already. I don't remember who to, but I really want to see some of you guys convert them into chapter masters. And you know what? There were some transfers in there as well. So you win the transfers too. So good luck to everybody that put their comments in from last night. And it's Daniel. Congratulations, Daniel. So what we'll do, you're the reason I started running Captain on a bike and the reason I started upgrading to a chapter master, so may as well make it the reason to build my first one. So awesome, congrats. Let's I will message you after the stream and we'll get that sorted out for you. If you're not in Discord, please join up the Discord so I can message you. That's going to be easiest. Cool. Okay, so we're going to move on to list number 4. And you know, we haven't done a big giveaway for a while. We've just been doing little things. We will aim to do another big one at some point. I'm not entirely sure when, but maybe a few months and we'll get another big giveaway going. Alright, so we're looking at list number 4 today, and that is Jackson Zod. Like from the planet Zod, arch nemesis of Superman. I'm sure he's not from Zod, but you know what I mean. Okay. Members only giveaway. We did do a members only giveaway a few weeks ago. That was the other 2 bikes in that box, actually, Camille. We all have. Probably, yeah. We should probably do the next giveaway to be members only. That would probably be a good thing. I kind of do some, you know, we kind of flip back and forth. So I think the last giveaway was members only. So this one was just everybody, and then I think, yeah, let's make the next one members only. I like giving back to the members because you guys are the reason that like we got the new camera this week or whatnot. So we can actually hopefully make some more videos. Highland Phoenix, you 100%. How many times do I have to ask you to join the Discord, man? Every night that we talk about Blood Angel strategies in there, and then half the time I'll be talking about a strategy that you've mentioned in a comment and you're not in the Discord, and it's like, you know, you can just get it on your phone, right? You don't have to. You just go to the App Store and you just install Discord. It's really not rocket science, man. Honest. I promise you, it's easy. Okay, so list number 4, Jackson Zod, Captain on the bike, Chapter Master, Hammer of Baal, Infernal Pistol, Warlord. Okay. No Warlord trait though. That's a mistake, right? Yeah, because you get free Warlord trait on your Warlord. So what's your free trait? What is your free trait? I mean, I recommend Gift of Foresight. I think it's one of the best. I feel like I'm being an idiot, but no, he hasn't picked one, right? Are these things discussed in the voice chat part? You know what? We don't do that much voice... I don't do that much voice chat on Discord. I sometimes hop on a Friday night. Do you know what? I haven't done it for a little while, actually. Maybe I'll hop on one of these Fridays. But... most of the time we're in the members room, or at least I probably hang out more in the members room than I hang out in the other rooms. I do answer questions and stuff in the others room, but usually, I guess, in the members rooms we usually talk like the pretty nitty gritty army list stuff, or tactics stuff, and I guess that's just, maybe it's wrong that we always talk in the members room, but the guys in the members are, you know, they're obviously really dedicated to winning games as well. They, you know, they're willing to pay $3.99 a month for the Blood Angels channel, so we talk a lot in the members room about strategies. And I want to say that the strategies that we talk about in the members room actually sometimes help me win games as well. I know I always like talk a lot that like, hey, I'm winning all the time, but like I don't just win all the time because of luck or whatever. Like if I'm up against an army that I haven't played very often, I post the list in the members room, and then a bunch of members will come in and say, hey, watch out for this, you know, make sure you deal with this, you know. So it would be good to have, the more members we get in that room, the more help we can all give each other, and like, I don't know whatever happens if any of you guys end up at the same tournament as me, because we'll all be like psychoanalyzing everything. But and then Reziel, I've hung out with Reziel, and I've hung out with Mark, and I've hung out with Tony in the voice chat a couple of times. Okay, so we have a librarian who is Veil of Time, Null Zone, Psychic Fortress. He is a chief librarian. He knows Galleon Staff. I thought Galleon Staff buffed psychic tests from the Sanguinary discipline. Am I wrong here? But he doesn't have any powers from the Sanguinary discipline, so why would you have Galleon Staff? Yeah. So there's no point in having Galleon Staff unless you just want the extra damage from it, which I feel like is questionable. And if you've got Psychic Mastery anyway, yeah, I mean, Discord is free. Yeah, I mean, maybe we do speak in the members room a bit more than the other rooms, but I definitely do. I focus my time between the members room and the general room, Krychek. So, I mean, if you have questions and stuff, general room is still fine. Just maybe the more nitty gritty stuff sometimes goes in the members room. Okay, the Sanguinary Priest, who has the jump pack, and obviously he's gone up in price. I guess the staff is kind of a questionable choice. Maybe he didn't realise that it only does the Sanguinary discipline. We then have the exact same troop choice as the last army. We have the 5 Blade Guards again, same as last army. This time we have a Judicar with Selfless Valor. So the reason behind picking Selfless Valor gives that Judicar the 6-inch heroic intervention. So I guess he goes to the middle of the board with the Blade Guards with the idea to try and shut down the enemy fighting first. So there's that. We then have a large Sanguinary Guard, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 7 of them Infernal Pistols. And I actually think one of the strengths of the Sanguinary Guard is the bolt guns. I mean, I like having an Infernal Pistol or 2, but 7 of them, good at opening up transports, I guess, right? Like, if you're going to play against Dark Eldar and you 100% needed to open up some transports, and I can get on board with the 7 Infernal Pistols. Let's see if no, he hasn't said anything about the list. Okay, so, but for the most part, I prefer to run the Sanguinary Guard with the bolters. I think their assault bolters are actually really good at clearing out enemy units that let you then make charges beyond. We have 2 squads of Vanguard veterans with Lightning Claws. These guys have gone up in some points, so this list was submitted before the new points costs. We then have 4 Plasma Inceptors and the Whirlwind. Now, as much as I like the Whirlwind, I'm not sure you need both the Whirlwind and the Judicar, right? Because it's a lot of points to spend to make the fight last. I guess the advantage of the Whirlwind is the Whirlwind obviously gives you the Overwatch denial, but it costs 1 CP every time you do it. And this list for me is a bit light on shooting as well. You know, like, I guess it's just got 4 Plasma Inceptors, so you have shooting that can clear screens, but you don't have shooting that can clear, you know, armors or monsters or anything like that. And your Sanguinary Guard are in a 10-man squad, and we talk about this a bit in that the 10-man squad of Sanguinary Guard is probably overkill. The only reason I think that you run 10 10 Sanguinary Guard is if you're playing Death Guard and you're going to deal with that -1 damage across the board against all other armies. Except maybe like a Iron Hands list that's all Dreadnoughts or some shit, or an all Dreadnought Marine army that has Duty Eternal across the board. Against all other armies, I feel like Sanguinary Guard are fine in squads of 7 to 9. So if you're going to have to drop something here, because you're going to need to find some points, because the 3 things, Vanguard Vet, Sanguinary Guard, and Scepters all went up in points. So you're going to maybe drop 1 Sanguinary Guard, and that makes up for the, because these would have gone up 10, 10, 20. Yeah, so dropping 1 Sanguinary Guard with an Infernal Pistol kind of almost still makes things work. the list is much lighter on firepower than I like. The HQs are fine. The Judicar makes sense. I don't know if you need a Judicar and a Whirlwind. I mean, and I guess doing that, I think, makes him light on shooting. And again, it's 5 Blade Guard veterans, which is a big commitment for Blade Guard veterans. You know, like in my lists, the Blade Guard veterans, you just have 3 of them, and they usually just hold an objective or sit in the middle of the board and score oath. Like, not many people are going to charge a bunch of Blade Guard veterans if they're there with a Judicar. So do you really need 5 of them? Like, you could definitely run 1 less, I think, maybe even 2 less. I don't know if it gives you enough points to get more shooting into the list, but yeah, I mean, like 3 Blade Guard veterans and a Judicar fighting first against you is going to be enough to turn most people against charging you, right? Yep, and the Sanguinary Priest has gone up to 20 points. Thanks, Graham. This list would have been submitted a few weeks ago. Just I have like a 4-week queue for people submitting lists, right? So we get a lot of submissions each week. So, okay, then let's do some scoring on this list. So, objective holding OBSEC is probably the same, 8.5, right? 8.5. 2 infiltrators and assault intercessors. Against horde-based armies, I mean, we've got lightning claws that can deal with hordes. We've got the whirlwind, but potentially not, and then we've got the inceptors. So I guess the horde-based shooting is a weird one. Like, I guess you could give it an 8, but just 4 inceptors, I guess it's going to be critical that those... I mean, I feel like your inceptors are going to have to do a lot of work here. Anti-monster vehicle, I think we're in a decent state, right? We don't have that many 3 damage weapons though, right? Like we have... I guess we've got our 7 Infernal Pistols in the squad, but we did say we might have to drop one. And then we've got the Infernal Pistol and the Thunderhammer and the Librarian. So it's like potentially 9 or 10 3 damage weapons. I think I'm going to go an 8.5 on the monster killing because we don't really have any shooting against monsters or hard targets. So we're going to end up having to charge those hard targets. I guess that's why the Whirlwind's here, to prevent the overwatch. But still, if the enemy's smart, if the screening is good, it might be difficult to make those charges. So we're going to say 8.5. Could the Vanguard veterans, sergeants... I mean, the interesting thing now is the Storm Shield costs the same amount of points as the Infernal Pistol, right? So for sure, I would swap out the Storm Shield on the Sergeant for an Infernal Pistol. If you want to keep all these Infernal Pistols, or you want to keep a lot of Infernal Pistols in your list, I would do that. And that would save some points for sure. Or it would give you some more 3 damage weapons, but you don't really lose much from that at all. For mobility, I guess it's like an 8. We've got the Blade Guard who are on foot, we've got the Judicar that's on foot, we've got the Assault Intercessors on foot. I think that's probably enough to justify giving it an 8. And then specialization, I think I want to mark it down for the 3 damage weapons it has. You know, like I like to see the 3 damage weapons split across a bunch of different squads, right? It has them all in this one squad. Or it has not all of them, but 70% of your 3 damage weapons in the one squad. If you were a Death Guard player and you knew that, you could just target that Sanguinary Guard squad, and then very quickly you've half the damage output across the whole army, because all the 3 damage weapons are in there. It's also short on firepower, and I mean, the Galen staff pick is a strange one because I feel like you get very little value from it. You're missing your Warlord trait, so you definitely need to pick up a Warlord trait for sure. You may as well, like if you start with 7 CP, I feel like this isn't a hungry list in terms of CP. You might be actually picking up another relic or another. Well, you've already got your 2 relics, but you could pick up another Warlord trait. The one that you would do would be Angel's Exemplar to give your captain on a bike a second trait. He's the Hammer of Baal and an Infernal Pistol. You could give him you could give him a Space Marine run. Like, he could actually have Imperium Sword as well, to give him more attacks and more strength. That would be pretty cool. Imperium Sword and Gift of Foresight. I don't think many people have done that, but re-rolling charges and all sorts makes him a bit more killy. I think you have to drop the Sanguinary Guard because he's not got the new points cost here, right? So you're gonna add 20 points to the Sanguinary Guard. You already added 20 points to the Priest, so you're up 40 points. You add 10 points to these two squads, so he's actually up 60 points, and that's before you up. And the aggressors are going to put him up 20 points as well. So this list has actually gone up 80 points in the new codex. That's crazy. I thought mine was a lot, going up 61. This list went up 81. So like, he has to drop a few things to make this work. You basically have to just drop the Judicar, and then your list stays the same. So yeah, I mean, I guess specialization, we're going to go with 6.5 because I was going to go with 7, but because you have to drop so much stuff out of the list, then I'm going to go with 6.5, because you're going to have to drop something big. Like, you need to get 80 points back, which is kind of a crazy amount of points to find. I really thought my list going up 61 was bad. This going up 80 is bad. Really bad. Okay, so yeah, Jackson. My main suggestion, I think, would be drop a couple of Sanguinary Guard. Drop at least one Blade Guard. That would probably find you the 80 points. But I do feel like the Whirlwind is an expensive model, right? So if you feel... I don't know, I just don't feel like... where we are right now, and with the points cost of the Whirlwind and the Judicar, I don't think we have enough points to take them both in a list. They both kind of do the same thing. If you want to make enemies fight last twice, that's actually less strong now, actually. Yeah, that's a good point, right? Because if you suppression fire Unit A and use the Judicar to make Unit B fight last, the enemy charges you. So you get to pick one unit, and then they get to pick one of the units that fought last, and then you pick another unit, and then they pick again. So, whereas previously, those two units would be fighting last, so potentially you could fight before them with both units. Now you can only fight before them with one unit first, and then the second unit. So yeah, I think that probably running a Judicar and a Whirlwind has been nerfed a bit. The fight first, fight last stuff is still super complicated. But hopefully that makes sense. Where, like, I think that you don't take both of them anymore. I think anyway. So yeah, hopefully that gives you some food for thought. And there was a couple of missing Warlord traits, and there was a strange pickup with the staff. So let me double check that. Could someone type !points in the chat and see if you get your, let's see what points this loyalty thing is giving, because I am kind of new to this whole streaming game. Okay, cool, thank you. Yeah, I thought this button to add points to all users. Did I do it wrong? Add points to all users. 100. Okay. It says queued. Oh, it says queued 100 loyalty points payout. Okay, so I guess it gave Highland Phoenix. Maybe it just takes a little while to queue them and send them out. Okay, all right. We're looking at list number 5 today. Then let me bring it up. List number 5, and that's John Cooper. And John starts very nice. Congratulations, this channel deserves to go even further. 10k soon enough. I have a list submission, something I'm considering taking to an event later this year, and I wanted to take a huge amount of dudes, so I made this. Okay, so this is a list of a huge amount of dudes. We have a librarian, Null Zone, Psychic Fortress, and Wings. I guess that's changed now, so we can't include Wings, unfortunately, but it is what it is. Primaris Chaplain on a bike. Catechism Fire, Mantle of Strength, Gift of Foresight, Benediction of Fury, Master of Sanctity, Angel's Exemplar, Imperium Sword, and he is a Warlord. Yeah, do you know what's funny? We just said, I wonder about Imperium Sword and Gift of Foresight. So he's going to do that on the Chaplain that's got the Mantra of Strength, and it's got the Benediction of Fury. So Benediction of Fury is Strength 6, I believe. Let me double check that. So I haven't run Benediction of Fury in a little while. I haven't actually finished painting my Chapter Master on a bike. I really need to... Sorry, my Chaplain on a bike. I really like the model, I just haven't finished painting. Benediction of Fury is Strength 6, so he's charging with Imperium Sword, so it's Strength 7. He has Mantra of Hate up, so it's Strength 8. So it's pretty interesting. Strength 8 minus 2, 3 damage, and 6s are doing mortal wounds. He's a bunch of additional attacks out of that. I don't think they're giving them all to Phoenix. It says queued, so hopefully they're coming. It said queued. I don't know. I'm brand new to loyalty points, so hopefully it's working. We then have the Sanguinary Priest. He is the icon of the angel, and he's the selfless healer. We have 3 squads of assault intercessors, and they're all 10-man squads, and that's insane. I guess he wants a lot of dudes, and each one has a Thunderhammer. The problem with having 3 like this is, one of the great things about assault intercessors is they get the ability to fight twice for 2 CP. If you've got 3 squads, you're only ever going to be fight twice with 1 squad, so potentially by duplicating up like this, you actually lose a little bit of value. We then have the Judicar with the Visions of Death to turn off Obsec from the enemies, and then this is just 10 Sanguinary Guard with Axis, 10 Sanguinary Guard with Swords. These probably need to actually change to 9 now because of the new points costs. Again, I think 10 is usually overkill, so 9 is probably actually, I'm more okay with that. And then a bunch of Vanguard Veterans, Lightning Claws, and Storm Shields, and I would drop the Storm Shield on the Sergeant for the Infernal Pistol. So this is a very, very infantry army, right? Librarian, Chaplain, Priest, 30 Assault Intercessors, 20 Sanguinary Guard, it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 Vanguard Vets, and your Judicar. No Whirlwind in there as well. So I actually don't think this is super competitive. This is going to be one of those armies where you have to get across the board in close combat, and if you don't manage to do that, then you're going to struggle. Obsec, 3 units of 10 guys, hard to complain about that. He also has the Judicar for Visage of Death, so I'd say probably it's an 8 or maybe even an 8-5. Anti-infantry horde. You can kill a lot of hordes with all these chainswords, right? Like 50 attack, 50 chainswords per unit, but you have nothing to clear out the screens, so you could end up having your best units have to fight crap units because you've got no guns basically there at all. I guess you've got the Sanguinary Guards, Assault Bolters, Angelus Bolters, as you say, but I tend to advise, and the Pedrog's saying in the chat, Human Wave, wrong arm? Well, Human Wave, wrong arm? Am I waving my wrong arm? I don't know. Maybe I just wave with this arm. I tend to recommend not going for double Sanguinary Guard squads. They're not that survivable. Yes, they do a lot of damage, but also running this many of them makes you one-dimensional. And yeah, this just means this list, any enemy playing this list, they know exactly what's happening. Everything is just catapulting across the board. It's super one-dimensional. If the enemy can counter that, and some lists will be able to counter it, if they can counter it, then they win the game. And there's not a lot of guesswork around, the enemy doesn't have to guess what you're doing, it's just you've got 30 models of troops and you have 30 models of elites, and they're all just going to run at them. Yeah, I guess that's a very good point. Corbolo might be better than the Priest at this point because his aura would be affecting potentially all 3 squads. We don't often see Corbolo, so that could be a cool choice. But yeah, there's in terms of 3 damage weapons in this list, there is 2. So the Thunderhammers on the Sergeants. Okay, there's 5. So 3 damage is really low. I'm gonna say it's like an 8 against monsters and infantry. If you can get all these Sanguinary Guards, axes, and swords in, and overwhelming attacks with chainswords, it's fine. But again, you've got nothing to clear screens. Mobility is lower. I don't like making 10. Like, 1 10-man assault intercessor squad I could maybe be on board with for the fight twice stratagem, but like not 3 of them. And also, like, what's holding your objectives in this list, right? Like, there's nothing to hold objectives because all these units are going to push forward. How many elite choices have you got? 1, 2, 3, 4. So you've got some space in elite choice. So I guess you could, if you did what Highland is saying and dropped the Sanguinary Priest and picked up Brother Corbelow, you could maybe have like 2 company veterans to sit on an objective. But yeah, I think probably run your 1 10-man squad of assault intercessors, take the second squad and break it into 2 5s, and then take the 210 points and put them into some sort of range support. Like, get a squad of eradicators, get yourself a whirlwind, right? You've got no way to turn off Overwatch here. If you get the whirlwind, you could drop the Judicar, so you could basically 3 up 300 points here, like 210 plus 85. I would take the whirlwind, which is 125. That leaves you like 170, and then a squad of eradicators. Or attack bikes with multi-meltas would be good here as well. You could probably make that fit. You maybe just need to drop like 1 Sanguinary Guard or 1 Vanguard veteran, or run that main squad of assault intercessors as a 9 rather than a 10. I don't think you lose that much running them as a 10. Yeah, so I guess your mobility is like 7, maybe even 6. I think 7, that's probably the harshest of the day, but you do have a ton of stuff that's running. And then specialization, so not enough 3 damage weapons, no way to cancel fight, or last, not enough fire support. So I think specialization is like, really, it's like a 5. And this is a list that I would run in 8th edition, but to me it's not a 9th edition list. Like, I just think there's too many ways that the enemy can deal with this now, and you will not score well. Yeah, I think Corbolo needs some love. I think all the Blood Angels characters need some love, though, Highland. You know, we're in a weird position where like all of our named characters are needing some love. Let me see if anyone else's points updated. Then let me refresh this page. Furian's up to 105 points now. So did Furian, when he wrote points 10 minutes ago, he said it had 4, right? Yeah, so okay, so it is sending out points to anyone in the chat, but it's sending them out slowly, I guess. So much -1 damage abilities present in game, and presumably more with the new Codex creep, are 2 damage weapons in the danger of becoming moot, therefore making things like Sanguinary Guard, Blade Guard subpar. I mean, they kind of already do, Matthew, and this is why. Do you know what? I don't know, because I changed my list, right, recently. Actually, I don't even know if I've got my list in Battlescribe. I don't think I do. I have it in this other Excel sheet because I made my list before the new points costs came out. So let me. So the idea, Pedroig, is that every time you watch the channel at all, you get loyalty points, and on Monday nights for the live games, you can bet with your loyalty points. So I just started this last night. So every 5 minutes you watch, you get a loyalty point, and then for half an hour at the start of tomorrow night's stream, we'll open betting where you can bet on the Sisters of Battle or you can bet on the Blood Angels. And if you bet 10 points and the Blood Angels win, then you would get 20 points back, so forth. So nice and simple, and it's just for a little bit of fun. And that just started last night. Okay, so like my current list, let me find it. Because I have a lot of lists in here. I think it's this one, Vanguard 4.0. Yeah, I think it's this one, is it? Yeah, so my current list, I have a Thunderhammer Infernal Pistol on the Captain, that gives me 2. I have my librarian and Terminator armor with his 4 sword. That gives me 3. I guess he's got smite as well. So could you argue? I guess maybe that's 4. Let's just call it 3. I have the Sanguinary Priest. I have the Librarian Dreadnought, who has the melta gun and the fist. I know he's got the halberd as well, but let's just call that 2. So that's 5. We then have Sanguinary Guard with Infernal Pistol. That's 6. Vanguard Veterans with an Infernal Pistol. Yep, so that's 7. 3 Heavy Melta Rifle Eradicators, so that's 10. Another 3 Heavy Melta Rifle Eradicators, so that's 13. A Redemptor with a Macroplasma, and I guess he's got the fist as well, so that's 15. And then Centurions with their drills. So I run 18 3 damage weapons now. Who's going to bet against Blood Angel's Commander? I don't know who's going to bet against me, but someone might, I think somebody might. The next thing we're going to look at is the Sisters of Battle list. So it's a good question now. Is 2 damage mute? I don't think it's mute, but I think that if you stick too much 2 damage into your list, right? Like if you just, and I've been saying for a while, don't focus, like we still see lists with 25 Sanguinary Guard in them. That's like 1,000 points of Sanguinary Guard. And Sanguinary Guard are good, but like not 1,000 points good. They die super easy, and people sometimes argue like, oh well, Sanguinary Guard don't often get hit by that many minus APs, so they can usually make saves. Usually when my Sanguinary Guard are dying, I'm getting hit with shit like Melta Guns or Power Fists, so I'm only saving on 5s or I'm only saving on 6s. John could use the official Bloody Primaris Lieutenant with the Vox Spiritum. Yeah, I mean, I guess that would be good as well. Hey Marcel, how you guys doing? Alright, so this was John's list and it was number 4, it was number 5 today. So we're going to look at Sisters of Battle here in a second, but if you are enjoying today's video, please, if you could hit that like button, it's very much appreciated. So yeah, I think list number 5 for today was John, and if we jump back earlier, I think Lagmeister had the strongest list of today, and that was an interesting evolution of the list I'm running. And I think lists like that are probably the strongest, and I guess his list actually brought a little bit more OBSEC than mine, and that might be a small problem with my list these days. 2 damage is not twice as effective as 1 damage anymore. Just weight their value in relative terms. Yeah, everything's fine here, man. I mean, I don't know if you can hear the baby crying in the background, but yeah, for the most part, everything is fine. All right, so let me pull up this list for tomorrow night so you guys can just get a quick look at it. Just take me a second and I'll just put it into another notepad file. Because the reason I need to pull up this list for tomorrow night is so Andrew said to me that a bunch of the units he's bringing tomorrow night are unpainted because he literally just got them yesterday or something. So this is the Sisters list that we're fighting tomorrow night, and there's a bunch of stuff that I have no idea what it does, and maybe you guys in chat. This is what I was talking about, right? Like we talk over lists and stuff in Discord, and this is why you should totally join the Discord island, so that we can learn and talk together. Right, so he's Order Bloody Rose. I believe Bloody Rose is like, do you know what? We're just gonna Google everything so I'm not guessing. Order Bloody Rose. Is Bloody Rose not like an additional attack or something? Or let's check. Bloody Rose. When resolve an attack made with a melee weapon, that weapon's AP characteristic is improved by 1. In addition, add 1 attacks when they made a charge move or performed a heroic intervention. Okay, interesting. So it's not when they're charged, it's just when they... So he's got some Bloody Rose, guys. I've got the new Sisters book in front of me. Cool, Tony. Then you can jump in if there's any questions. So he has a Canoness with the Blessed Blade, an Infernal Pistol, the Relic Blade of St. Eleanor, and the Words of the Emperor. I suppose I should look up what these relics do. I have the codex in PDF form, but I think it's like a cut down version. Let me see. Orders. Stratagems. I'm not going to know any of the new sister stratagems for tomorrow, so that's going to be a little bit annoying. I'm not finding it. Relic Blade of Saint Eleanor. Oh, Blade of St. Eleanor. Model equipped with a Blade of St. Eleanor. This relic replaces the Blessed Blade and has the following profile. +2 strength, -3. So it's just a 3 damage Blessed Blade. Okay. And then it's got Word of the Emperor, which I guess is a warlord trait, is it? No. No idea what Word of the Emperor is then. Okay, so does anyone have a theory on why Heavy Flamers and the Ball Predator are still 15 points? The Ball Predator needs balanced really badly, Hydra. I complained about it a couple of times. And yeah, it just needs balanced really badly. And then he's got this. Is this a new character? I mean, how do you even say those names? That's ridiculous. Let me see what this new character looks like. Oh, I've seen the picture of her. Okay, so she's weapon skill 2+, ballistic skill 3+, 6 wounds. She's also got toughness 4. Normally the sisters are T3. Interesting. Okay, so it's a new character with toughness 4. Let's see if we can find her actual battle scroll or scroll. We're going to need to look at Morgan Vale in a minute, but let's find this one first. Okay, so she's got a bolt pistol. She's got some sort of blades. You can make 2 hits instead of 1. She's a 2 damage melee weapon. Each time an attack is made with this weapon, vulnerable saves cannot be made against the attack. Okay, so that's kind of annoying. 5 attacks. And then looks like she's got a bunch of different stuff here. Okay, I'm never going to remember all this, so we're going to have to fight her and see. But yeah, she looks interesting for 120 points. What's her save? She's got a 3+ save. Does she have an invulnerable save? Yeah, models have an invulnerable save. Okay. And she has a -1 to attack roll and subtract 1 from the wound roll. Okay, that's brutal. Each time this attack is made against this unit, subtract 1 from the attack set roll and subtract 1 from the wound roll. Okay. I guess the sisters are going to be pretty strong, right? Book looks like she's just toughness 3. Alright, so it was a typo in the Games Workshop website. Oh, good. I mean, that's something, I guess. Okay, so let me close that because we're done with that. So we've got the new character, well, regular Canoness, a new character, a Hospitaller? I have no idea what a Hospitaller is. Did we pass that? Here we go, Hospitaller. If any of your Battle Forged, okay, so you can include it in the detachment for free. It gives a 6+ feel no pain, so it's similar to the Sanguinary Priest, right? So any unit within 3 inches of this model, you get 6+ feel no pain, and then at the end of the movement phase, choose a model within 3. That model can regain D3 wounds. Each model can only be healed once per turn. So it's basically a 50-point apothecary, right? I guess because it's toughness 3, and it won't have an invulnerable save, it's just going to have a 3+. Alright, thanks, Tony. So we've got Canoness, these new characters, the Hospitaller, and then Celestial Sancrescents. And I saw these guys. These are the new sisters with the maces and the shields. So he's got them all armed with infernal pistols. This is what we talk about, too much Melta in the meta. So this is... Oh no, the sergeant has the infernal pistol and a spear, and all the rest have the maces. And when I saw these guys, they actually look kind of good for the points cost, right? Let me find them, because I think it said that they're like 140 points for This is them. Celestial. I'm glad I don't play this army because I can't say any of these bloody words. Sacrosancts? Okay, so these guys are running toughness 3, 1 wound, but they have a 2+ save. They have the bodyguard rule, so you can't attack characters within 3 inches of them. They have a 4+ invulnerable save because of their shields. They can perform heroic interventions as if they were characters. In addition, each time this unit performs a heroic intervention or enemy unit declares a charge against this unit, while this unit is not within engagement range of enemy enemies, the unit can set to defend. If it sets to defend, then until the end of the phase it cannot fire Overwatch, but into the next fight phase, each time a model in this unit makes an attack, add +1 to the hit roll. So they hit on 2s, and their maces are strength +2, so strength 5, -1, flat 2 damage. So these are like infantry. These are marine. These are anti-marine weapons big time, right? Like hitting on 2s. I guess it would be wounding on 3s, -1, and then 2 damage. Yeah, they're Sister Sangre Guard without the movement, I guess. And shooting them is not going to be easy, I guess, because they're all armed with invulnerable saves. So weight of attacks is going to be needed to kill these guys. Lightning Claws, I guess, is going to be good. Get the Lightning Claws in, but he's running them. So what? How many points are these guys? Like 12 points a model or something? 14 points per model. How are they 14 points per model when our guys are 32 points per model? Where's the balance? They have an invulnerable save. They have 1 less toughness and 1 less wound. I guess a jump pack. I don't know. I mean, the point I suppose is that they're strength 3, but they're hitting with strength 5 because the mace is +2, right? So how many of them has he got? He's got 20 of those guys. And 24+ invulnerable saves is not bad. You know, you need a lot of... I mean, you essentially need to do 40 wounds at AP2 or higher to kill them. That's a lot of wounds to do. 40 wounds. That's kind of crazy to do that many. Okay. Death Cult Assassins. Are Death Cult Assassins in Wapedia? I don't know if I've ever even fought against Death Cult Assassins. I guess they're just a fast-moving, decent number of attacks. Small unit. Couple of them. Let me see what they look like. Oh yeah, okay, we fought these guys. They remind me of the Repentia. They're similar, right? But just 1 damage these times. Sorry, Matthew, I was speaking about killing both squads, but you're right, 20 wounds to kill a squad at -2 or more. Still a lot. I know Zephyrim, right? They're the Zephyrim with power swords, and because they're bloody rose, the power swords are going to be -4, no doubt, so that'll be annoying to deal with. They pretty much always do a lot of damage when he brings in the Zephyrim. There's no real counter to them. I guess, like, maybe if he charged some of my guys with flamers, but yeah, I mean, the Zephyrim, they always do damage when they come in. You can try and screen them out, but it's difficult. I guess the Dogmata is their new chaplain type person. Dogmata. While it's within 6 inches of a core unit, it can perform an action and still shoot. And then in the command phase, you're going to select 1 friendly core unit within 6. And you can give them objective secured. Alright, interesting. So you can actually add objective secured to a unit that isn't objective secured if they're within 6 of the Dogmata. And it knows a war hymn. And I guess the war hymns are very much like your litanies. Does the bodyguard rule only work for order units rather than sister units? On the Celestial Sanctus, the bodyguard... Yeah, I mean, I guess... Well, a sanctified character. Or a order character. I mean, so I guess maybe some of the special characters are going to be sanctified. That's going to be interesting. We'll need to check that. Thanks for pointing that out, Highland. Alright, what else is in this list? So, Dogma, Seraphim, the new ones, these two new, the Hospitalizers, and then these are the things that I know. So he's got 2 Rhinos, they're just 10 wound Rhinos, not quite as good as Space Marine Rhinos. We have the Retributor Squad with double Cherubs, and these guys I think went down in costs, which is crazy to me, and then another Retributor Squad with double Cherubs. So I also don't get why they're allowed double Cherubs and Space Marines aren't, but whatever. We then have 2 Dominion squads with Artificer crafted Stormbolters. What the hell is an Artificer crafted Stormbolter? Does Retributors are able to do shooting and actions on obsects? Pretty strong. Let me find out what an Artificer and crafted. So it's a rapid fire 2 Stormbolter. Is that the difference? So rather than like Bolter Discipline, it just okay. So it's just a 4-shot bolter, no AP. Was that 2 damage though? Did I read that right? Oh, 2 damage, no AP. Really? They get Stormbolters that do 2 damage? Artificer crafted Stormbolter. It's really hard to read. I guess it's low quality, the scan that I got. But yeah, do you want to confirm that, Tony? 2 damage Stormbolters, and they get 4 shots per model because it's rapid fire 2. So they're actually pretty good. I thought they were just going to be a bit of a waste of points. I think they also have a stratagem with those Stormbolters. I'm sure they do, Willis, because it seems like the Codex creep is real and all the new factions are getting crazy amounts of good stuff. While we have an unfieldable Prowl Predator with 15 points for putting the Flamers on it, you know? Or 15 points per Flamer, I think. And then we've got Paragon Warsuits. We have 1 squad of Battle Sisters, and we also have Morgan Val. So let's check out Paragon Warsuits and Morgan Val next. And they'll be pretty interesting. So he's lost his tanks that had the multi-meltas on them, but I mean the Retributors will be inside the Rhinos, so it'll be a case of like I have to kill and open up the Rhinos, I guess. Where the hell are the Warsuits? Probably after all this. Battle Sisters. You never find stuff in these codexes when you want to find it, can you? Here we go, Paragon Warsuits. So movement 8, toughness 5, attacks 3, 2+ save. I assume they have an invulnerable save. No invulnerable save? Well, they'll have the Shield of Faith, which I think is a 6+ invulnerable save, right? Looks like an anti-marine list to me. Toughness 5, -1 AP, boys, anyone? His list would be better as they ignore AP order instead of bloody Rose. I think this other one is this other one is Agent Shroud. We need to check what Agent Shroud is. I think that's the new one, is it? Agent Shroud. Let me check that. Anyway, let me see. So these Warsuits have 4 wounds a pop. Do they not have invulnerable saves, though? Because that's going to be interesting. Or do they just have Shield of Faith? How do their dreads move faster than Furiosos? Yeah, I mean, how do their dreads move faster than the insane Death Company dread that's supposed to be mindlessly charging across the battlefield, you know? I guess that's a question too. And then Morgan Val has 8 wounds. She's in this thing. She gives core rerolls. She gives chapter master rerolls. She explodes on mortal wounds on a d6. Once per battle at the end of the fight phase, if this model is within engagement range of the enemy unit, it can fight again. Alright, so she can fight twice if she gets in combat. If your army is Battleforged, this model must be your warlord. Yeah, that's fine. Holy Aegis, each time an attack is allocated to this model, half the damage characteristic of the attack, rounding up. So 2 damage weapons against her just do 1 damage. She has a 4+ invulnerable save. If she loses mortal wounds, she also has a 4+ invulnerable save against that. Her weapon is strength 8 minus 3, 3 damage. On rolls of 6s, she also inflicts mortal wounds. Unfortunately, I think this is just like a cyclone missile launcher that he has on there, and then she's got a better heavy bolter. Shield of Faith. So the war suits just have a 6+ invulnerable save. 2+ save, 6+ invulnerable save. Everyone take a bow at the High Lord of Shroud. Agent Shroud allows shooting as though they did not move even if the unit advanced and moved. So lovely. So the Retributors can move, advance, and then shoot their multi-meltas as though they remain stationary. Is that correct? Let me see if we can find Agent Shroud wherever that was. Oh, this is going to be a tough game tomorrow, guys. So maybe you actually want to bet some of your points on the sisters. I guess we'll see. It's going to be tough. Agent Shroud. Is that in here? No. Order of the Sacred Road. Order of the Ancient Shroud. Here we go. Each time this unit with this conviction makes a normal move or advance in your movement phase until the end of the shooting phase, it counts as having remained stationary. Each time a unit with this conviction is selected to shoot or fight, you can reroll 1 hit and 1 wound when resolving that unit's attack. Holy shit, I already thought it was overpowered where they remain stationary. They can reroll 1 hit and 1 wound. What did it say when it's selected to attack? When selected to shoot or fight. If he pops the Cherub separately, then does that mean he can reroll 1 wound? Does that mean he can reroll 1 hit and 1 wound, then pop the Cherubs, and then reroll 1 hit and wound on those as well? Oh. Yeah. Codex creep is real, guys. Jesus. Yeah, I figured as much, yeah. So we've got... He has a lot less melee stuff, right? That's the one thing. I mean, he's got Morgan Val, who looks disgusting in melee. And the war suits look... Are the war suits good in melee? I assume they're pretty good in melee. I didn't really look at their melee. Where are the war suits again? And how has he got the war suits armed? Multi-meltas and Paragon Warblades. And it's like 1 squad of them. So we know what a multi-melta does. Paragon Warblade strength +1, so strength 6, -3, 2 damage. Each time it fights, it can make 1 additional attack with the weapon. So about 5 attack, 2 damage attacks at -3. Yeah, I mean, I guess the tactic here will be to time to bust out the Thunderhawk. I mean, the Thunderhawk will die so bad to all that Meltifier. Yeah, you're possibly right, Highland. I mean, one of the reasons that I changed my list around actually gives me the option to reserve a little bit more stuff, and doing that may actually throw Andrew because I don't normally reserve more things, right? So how many multi-meltas has he got turn 1, I guess, or early in the game? He's got 6 multi-melta shots off these guys. And then 8 plus another 8. So 22 multi-melta shots, plus then he could pop both the Cherubs for another 8. So he's got 30 multi-meltas in turn 1 if he wants. Is that right? Yeah, I mean that to me feels like a lot. 2 Death Company Dreadnoughts and a Redemptor for this. I'm not going to change my list. I'm going to play the list that I played last... the list that I've played the last 2 weeks in a row. Do you know what? I'm actually going to change one thing. I'm going to drop the Librarian with a jump pack and put back in my Librarian and Terminator Armor, but that's kind of minor. I want to continue to play this list against difficult armies to see, like if it can still get the wins, I guess. So yeah, I mean, I guess if you want to see all this new sister stuff in action tomorrow night, 7:30 UK time, we'll be kicking this off. You'll be able, if you're here in the first half hour, you'll be able to bet some of your loyalty points on the game. I'll try my best. I always try my best, and I'll fight to the bloody last man, because I always do that. Even if I think I'm going to lose, I will fight to the last man. Target priority is going to be difficult, because it's like the retributors, once you get them out the transports, because the retributors will start in the rhinos to be protected. So if it's my turn, we'll have to blow up the rhinos. I'll need like one squad of eradicators to do that. And then all I really have with long range shooting at that point is a Redemptor. So maybe we can, and he's probably going to have something that lets him ignore some AP on these retributors, right? So I guess we're going to try and blow up a rhino, kill a squad of retributors. Maybe the other eradicators go for a squad of war suits, but yeah, you're right. It's going to come down to the map, the mission, and I guess when we fight against these Celestiant Sacrosancts, we need to go in there with enough to do like a lot of damage to them. And I guess he will be bringing the Zephyrim at some point. And the problem when the Zephyrim arrive, because they're bloody rose, I don't remember the stats of the Zerfin or the Zephyrim off the top of my head, sorry. But when so he has them in order that gives them +1 attack, right? So he ends up getting, and how many has he got? 6. So he gets 6 times 2, which is 12, plus another 6, so he's got 18 attacks, then plus the Sergeant's ones, which is 1 more. So he gets 19 attacks. The Zerfin, when attack is made with a melee weapon, you can reroll the wound. So they hit on 3s. So he makes like 12 hits, and then they're power swords, so they're strength 4, they're -3. He can pay CP to make them hit +1 to wound. And then because they're in that bloody rose order, they're -4, so it's so hard to get saves. Like, my Redemptor doesn't even get a save against them. The Eradicators don't get a save against them. Those tricky characters fight first abilities. Who has a fight first ability? Sorry. That would be good to know, I guess. But yeah, so I'm not playing in the dark. Like, we've read over the list, we kind of know what it does, but like there's 2 or 3 pages of new stratagems I'm sure he's got, and like even if I go read them, I'm not going to remember them. I'm going to have to see them in action a few times. The Sanguinary Garden, that Lightning Claws will mulch the Sacrosancts. Yeah, I mean we're gonna have to when we make the charge on those Sacrosancts, we're gonna have to really munch them. And these Dominions with their 2 damage Stormbolters are actually going to be pretty nasty as well, I guess. 16 shots coming out from them, 2 damage a pop. They're very much Marine killers, aren't they? Okay, well, I mean, as I say, that'll be live tomorrow night. So hopefully we'll see some of you guys there. And yeah, do you know what? I wasn't feeling confident after I changed my list, and I'm probably not feeling confident about this list either, or facing this list either. But I mean, we keep grinding out the wins on the channel, right? So I guess we'll try our damnedest, and you'll be able to see all the new sister stuff in action, I guess. Maybe the Centurions could flame out that nice big squad of guys and then charge them. Maybe that would be a good way to get rid of them. But alright guys, thanks so much for watching this afternoon. I hope you enjoyed the stream. And I guess just so we know, next week we are looking at Obviously, it'll be 5 lists again. And next week's lists are... No, in the next week folder. Adam, Benjamin, Steel Rain, Paul C, and Sonorin. I believe that's right. I don't think I remember seeing... Yeah, I don't remember seeing this list. Okay, cool. So, good luck. Thank you, Island. They wound on 4s and they don't have Bolt or Discipline. Yeah, but they don't have Bolt or Discipline, but they're Rapid Fire 2 Steel Rain and they're 2 damage each. So I guess, although they're AP 0, any failed save will be a dead model. I was thinking Pedroig, I would let him off painting them because they literally came out on... I think he maybe got them on Friday. So, like... It's a lot to ask someone to paint 1,000 points in 2 days. I mean, it takes me like a year to paint 1,000 points, so I thought I would give him the benefit of the doubt and say he doesn't have to have them fully painted for the game, and we won't take 10 points off him. So, cool. All right, well, we'll see some of you guys tomorrow, and yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys. Appreciate the feedback on the sisters. If anyone wants to give me any... If anyone wants me to post that list in Discord, or if anyone wants to give me any tips, you can do that as well. And yeah, I think that's us. So talk to you all soon. Have a great weekend. By the blood are we made, brothers. Oh, by the blood are we made strong is the quote. Because we checked it last night and it's Gabriel Seth that says it. So by the blood are we made strong. Peace.